everybody, and I'm coming to you from not so sunny Albion, New York, in the Town and Country Quilt Shop. And we're going to do a little bit of work with some Deb Tucker Studio 180. Some of you may be sick to death of it, but I apologize. I'm never sick of it, so I tend to ramble. But what I wanted to show you today was the wing clipper. I've been talking to a few of my compadres, and it's my new word, and it seems that flying geese are the greatest nemesis of quilters. And I truly believe it's because you haven't been taught a good way to do it. The old-fashioned way with the rectangle and then the squares that you cut off, you sew on and you cut off part of them. First of all, that wastes a ton. And second of all, they don't always line up. However, with the wing clipper, and I know you can't see this real well, but I'll just take my word. Can't use that paper, it's got writing on it. I'll show it to you in a little bit. The wing clipper allows you to do 4 at a time, and they come out great every time. You just have to learn the system. But you do 4 at a time instead of 1 at a time, and you don't waste as much. You can do it with less fabric. It may not seem like it when you read all the measurements, but it really is, because you're not cutting off 2 little triangles every time. Twice for each goose. You're not cutting those off. So let's get started. I'm going to move to the other side of the table in hope that I can pull this off. So give me a second. I'm going to turn my computer so I can see what I'm doing. Oh, actually I can see it on the phone. Never mind. All right. Let me get set up here. So I'm sure all of you know what a flying goose is. Okay? And I think it's very fitting because there's geese everywhere. I was out putting my puppies out and getting them back in, and I heard a flock of weird sounding geese. So I looked up and I thought, oh, they're white, it must be seagulls, but they were flying just like geese. Well, then my neighbor posted that on the pond next to our house there was a whole flock of snow geese that morning. So they must have been snow geese. But anyway, all right, so let me move my Dresden. We'll be talking about that later. I might get distracted. There. And I just threw something on the floor. So what you start out with, okay? You start out with a square. Hang on, I really am organized. Honest, I am. You start out with squares, and the size that you start out with is determined by what size your geese are going to be. This tool will make everything from a 1.5 by 1 all the way up to a 5.5 by 10.5 flying goose. That's a big goose. But anyway, so the size I'm doing starts with squares this side. This is my big size. This will end up being my goose. So that's important to keep in mind. Whatever color you want your goose to be is the big square. Then I will take little squares, okay? And again, the size is determined by what size your flying goose is going to be. And I will draw 2 lines. Now I do this with my quilter's magic wand, which makes perfect lines. And I'm sure many of you have seen this. Okay, I'm sorry about my initials. I put my name on everything. You line it up corner to corner. There's a laser line in the middle, you can see it. Line it up corner to corner and draw your lines. Then you place them on your big square. I'm going to move this up a little so you can see it. So I placed them so they lined up on my square. Then I sewed just inside the line, and that's my thing that tells you to sew on the line. I sew just inside the line to give myself a little bit of more leeway. Then I cut them in half. And I'm trying to do this. I thought I could do this. Hang on. Then I press these out. And I do it with a nice hot iron. Okay? I press them out. Then I turn it this way. These prop-it boards are amazing. Then I turn it that way, and I put another square on it. Now I have nudged these just in a little bit. I did it up here, and I did it here. Deb has posted a no nudge method. I have not tried it. It's where you cut everything a little bit larger. I have not tried it yet. I just learned that she actually posted it the other day, yesterday, Monday, whatever day, Tuesday. So I'm going to try it, but this works for me. So I may not change. I don't like to change things that work. Then I cut them apart. And again, pull that, and I press. And look at that. That is a flying goose. However, it's got some extra. It's not perfect yet. All right, for this step, I'm going to set this down. I'm going to tip this down and move in. I've never done this upright. So we're going to try it. I'm going to move these so they don't distract you. And we're going to take one of these. And I'm going to show you the trim down, because you're probably saying, well, what do I need that tool for? This is what you need the tool for. All right, here's my tool. Let me show you what it looks like without, oh my goodness, this sticks too good. All right, that's my tool. All right, sorry about the glare. I am going to make a 4.5 by 2.5. And I had planned that all along, okay? I didn't just decide now. I looked on the directions. We'll have a chart for you. Trying to get the glare off it. There we go. And you will cut accordingly. Now you will notice I'm not cutting a lot off from this. I'm doing the valley first, and then I will line up this X. What this X does is it gives you your 1/4 inch. I'm sorry, I'm dropping it because I'm trying to hold it. This is what happens when you don't have a cameraman, a person. But I want my 1/4 inch. I don't want to cut the nose or beak, whatever you want to call it, off any of my poor geese. So I'm going to line up that X, and then as always, it's up and over. I will cut it. Obviously, I'm not going to cut it on my prop-it board because that would be ugly. Then pretend that that's cut, and I should have cut one so I could show you. Then I flip it upside down, so now I'm doing the mountain. So remember, the valley first, then the mountain. And now I'm going to line it up. Had I cut this, these would be perfect. So then I could just line them up with my 4.5 line and my 2.5 line. It's really hard to do when you're trying to hold it upright. Normally, if I did that, this would line up. So there's my X again, okay? And there's my 1/4 inch seam, so I'm not trimming off the nose. And then up and over. And let me show you what you end up with. This is what you end up with. But I want to show you what this looks like. So that's what I ended up with. See how I lined up my 4.5 by 2.5 line? And that gives you perfect geese. Now my friend Brenda, who's in sunny Florida, is one of my biggest fans of the Tucker trimmer, or excuse me, the Flying Geese. She claims that she will never use anything else, and I believe her, because this is an amazing tool. Now, the reason Flying Geese are so popular is they're in a ton of patterns, but not just for Flying Geese. Let me show you wherever it went. Oh my goodness. It was organized. Honest, I was. Where'd it go? Actually, let me show you some patterns that have Flying Geese. These are not Deb Tucker patterns, okay? Look at all those geese. This is a kit, okay? It was a kit. I don't even know if we have any left. But anyway, it's a pattern, and they do not use Deb Tucker's method. However, you can. All right, let me show you another one. Look at this. This is a kit. See, the big kit. And I made this sample, which some of you have seen. And I did my wing clipper for my Flying Geese. I was able to do it with the fabric in the kit, even though this pattern is not written for Deb Tucker. I could still do it because you use less fabric. The only time a kit would not be able to alter to Deb Tucker's way of doing things is if it's pre-cut. If the squares that you add are already cut, if the rectangles are already cut. But if you get yardage, you can do it. You can do any pattern and save time and save fabric. All right, for example, I really wish I could find that other thing I was going to show you. Hang on, we're going to go back to the regular view here, and again, bear with me. I don't have my cameraman with me. Actually, I'm usually the cameraman, but that's all right. Oh, there it is. It fell on the floor. That's why I didn't have it. All right. The reason so many patterns use Flying Geese is because you don't have to use them as Flying Geese. These are Flying Geese, but they're star points. So you can make an entire star with Flying Geese and have all 4 star points done at one time. And put your squares and your square in the middle. That's all you got to do. So a pattern like this can easily be Tuckerized. And I would. If I were to make this pattern, which I might, it's actually quite pretty, it can be Tuckerized, which is a fancy term which they've actually coined. It's a term that means change it to a Deb Tucker method with this wing clipper. Okay? All right. The other thing we have here in the store, and these are called toolbox splits, and we have 3 or 4 of them. And this one happens to use the wing clipper. It also uses Tucker trimmer. And they are designed so that you have multiple possibilities. You have 9 designs, 5 different sizes, and 3 different unit sizes, okay? So that means from this pattern, you could, if you were to do all the sizes, all the unit sizes, all the quilt sizes, and all 9, You could make 395 different quilts. There's 395 options. Now, granted, we're probably not going to make this quilt 9 times. You're probably not going to do that. But I'm just pointing out that these are a wonderful thing to have in your toolbox. That's why they're called toolbox splits. We have these at the store. They're $17.95. There are other ones that are used with Tucker trimmer, and they also are here in the store. We have 2 others. Okay? All right. Hopefully that helped. I'm trying to look to see. Michelle, I saw you were interested in this. I'm assuming it's online. I'm sure Tara's checking that out as we speak. So we have a couple of them here in the store. Isn't it pretty? It's really pretty. I like it. Now I want to make it. There's a big patch in here, and then 9 patches here in the stars. It's really pretty. It'd be a beautiful Christmas gift. It comes in runner, a pillow 26 by 26, a giant star pillow 20. That's the same thing. Oh, they're runners. They're all runners and pillows. But you could make it into a great big quilt if you wanted to.